Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Gail Ash.
Thank you. Thank you all. So I'll just take that. I can hold it.
Well, I can drop it down like this.
No, I'd rather hold it.
Would you rather hold it? Okay.
Okay. Wow, well, thank you all for being here, number one, and for your patience and your kindness and your generosity in allowing the technology to take its time today. And in fact, with that in mind, I want to do kind of a get here meditation. Take a deep breath. You may close your eyes, kind of settle in your chair. Go ahead and envision a beautiful beam of light coming out of the last vertebrae on your spine, going all the way down to the center of the planet. It goes all the way down through the floor, through the dirt, through the bedrock, through the molten lava, and into the iron crystal core of Mother Earth. Let the day and its energies flow down this grounding cord, giving all of the energies prior to this moment back to Mother Earth to be recycled and used. Take a deep breath and breathe in the beautiful cosmic light that comes in through the top of your head and fills up your beautiful space of every cell of your body, from your head to your feet, and out into your aura around you. Visualize a rose in front of you. Notice what color it is. Notice how open it is. And then add another rose behind you, and one to your left, and one to your right, and one above your head, and one below your feet. Defining the boundaries of your space, of your energy. This is your bubble. And if you visually in your mind draw a line between all those roses, you will obtain a pyramid on top and a pyramid on bottom, which is also called an octahedron. This is your vehicle, the defines of your personal light body. Fill it with your own essence coming from the cosmos, your unique energy. No one else on the planet is like you. Congratulations. And fill it also with words like happy and joyful and ease. And take another deep breath. Set your intention for what you want to learn today, and add that to your bubble as well. We call on the archangels to be with us today, the ascended masters, the beings of light. We surround this room with a beautiful white tube of light, signifying the will of God. And we surround the room with a beautiful blue light, signifying the love of God. We are invincibly protected by the light of God, and only good from God can touch our lives. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Again, thank you all for coming today. I am an energy worker, and so I study energy. I'm also a scientist, a biologist by training and at heart, and love Mother Nature, and I'm working with nature and children and ecology and science. At the same time, I realized that the harmony of science and spirit is a very real thing. And when I started studying my spiritual side, or going on my spiritual quest, I discovered the Baha'i Faith. And it was very interesting because one of the tenets of the Baha'i Faith is the harmony of science and religion. So let's go through a few things here. There were so many opportunities. The one thing about the Baha'i Faith that really surprised me when I joined back in 2000, I came from a Christian background, and so I'm used to, picking up the Bible or whatever and reading that. And in the Baha'i Faith, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of books. So there is so much to choose from, and so much to read, and so much to digest. And we are all called to do our own reading and digesting and search for truth. So that, as we'll talk about in a minute, is also one of the tenets of the faith, is independent investigation of truth. And so there are no clergy in the faith. Everyone is equal, and we all learn from each other. So I have a little story here. I don't know if you can ever read the screen, but it's about a box in the road. I was actually out traveling 2 days ago on the highway, and I got caught in this terrible traffic. And I was realizing that I needed to call on assistance to get through the traffic and to get where I wanted to go. And so I brought myself back into present time, back into this very moment, driving, rather than thinking about where I needed to be. Oh my gosh, there's traffic, I'm going to be late, et cetera, et cetera. Sort of like what happened today, actually. But anyway, and I realized I could be aware. It's about being aware and calling on help. And so I'm working with these rays of creation, and I called on this particular ray that helps untie the knots, if you will, or take away all the obstacles. If you're Hindu, I suppose it's like calling on Ganesha. So I called on that, and I realized, I said, okay, I need to be present and say, what do I need? I need a clear path in front of me. I need to have the cars move away. I need to have where I can see well, because it was at night, and have everything be illuminated the way I can get home safely. And just as I did that, the traffic moved away, and I could see the path in front of me. The lane I was in was very clear. And instantly, this box appeared in the road that had fallen off of somebody's truck. And I was easily able to swerve around it and miss it. So I'm like, yes, thank you. That was really a great affirmation, that when we need it and when we have the presence of mind to be present and to call forth with angelic help, or whomever your guides are that you call forth, that they are there to help us day by day and instant by instant. And we can manifest heaven on earth. And that's really what this is all about. That's what this shift is about. We've all heard about 2012, the Mayan predictions, and indeed they are correct. Now there will be a 2013 and 14 and 15 and 25 and all of that too. But we are, in the same time, humanity is changing very rapidly from this animal essence, if you will, to divinely essence. We all are obviously our physical bodies, so we do have an animal component to us. And we are a drop in the ocean of the Creator's oneness. And we are a mirror to God. So we are divine as well. And this shift is underway. One of my teachers writes about it, and he says, it is so far-reaching that our limited imagination cannot begin to grasp the transition and change that we are now in the midst of experiencing. This shift is affecting every aspect of life on the planet: political, social, and economic structures, the environment, every institution, the wars, how we view our relationships, our work, every thought we think, and every feeling we feel. It is altering time, our memory, our DNA, the wiring of our physical and emotional bodies, our beliefs, our perceptions of good and bad, right and wrong, and especially our awareness of what is possible. The shift is composed of these huge waves of light, and we've had these waves of light come through particularly since last August and through the last fall with the eclipses. January 1st there was another eclipse, and January 15th. That brought these beautiful waves of actually the Holy Spirit coming to the planet. And it's emptying our cups. I don't know if you are all experiencing this, but I certainly am, where everything that I am not is leaving me. And it's emptying the cup to what I can be and to what I am and what I need to be bringing forth in life now. So we're in this profound change, this profound transition time. It is rewiring our DNA, upgrading our body's physical, emotional, and mental systems. These waves of light are activating the 4th and 5th dimensional chakras, aligning us to a higher awareness. It's providing understandings of how we once again can live in harmony with each other, the environment, and all that is, and really bring heaven to earth. There's a lady who brings in Archangel Michael, and she writes, or he writes, Archangel Michael writes, "How exciting is this?" Is it not? The times of great change on the earth, decision-making, soul purpose, and dedication in helping the earth and all species of life on the earth to evolve is here. Great angelic communication is available for all who seek it. Time is greatly speeding up. Thank you for having the strength and courage to be you and helping us bring heaven to earth. Many blessings to you all. We love you, all our beloved children of God. So it turns out that the Baha'i Faith, too, speaks about all of this. It speaks about that, this is one of the quotes from Baha'i World Faith. It says, "Verily, verily, the new heaven and the new earth are come. The holy city, New Jerusalem, hath come down from on high in the form of a maid of heaven, veiled, beauteous, and unique, and prepared for reunion with her lovers on earth. The angelic company of the celestial concourse have joined in a call that hath rung throughout the universe. All loudly and mightily acclaim, Hail, O city of God! Abide thou, and make thy habitation with the pure, virtuous, and holy servants of thine, for they are thy people, and thou art their Lord." Baha'u'llah, who was the main prophet of the Baha'i Faith, had a garden called Rizwan, and he named it Rizwan because that means paradise, and he called it the New Jerusalem, or our verdant isle. This was where he declared his covenant in 1863 in the Garden of Rizwan. And this, unfortunately, you can't see it. It's a beautiful picture that a friend of mine took of the clouds, and it all looks like angels in the clouds. So we do have angelic help. Another thing the Baha'i Faith talks about is that everyone are friends. We are all equal, and we're all friends with each other. And it says, "See you no strangers. Rather see all men as friends, for love and unity come hard when you fix your gaze on otherness. And in this and wondrous age, the holy writings say that we must be at one with every people. We must see neither harshness nor injustice, neither malevolence nor hostility, nor hate, but rather turn our eyes toward the heaven of ancient glory. For each of the creatures is a sign of God, and it was by the grace of the Lord and his power that did steep into the world. Therefore they are not strangers. but in family, not aliens, but friends, and to be treated as such. He goes on to say that the tabernacle of unity hath been raised. Regard ye not one another as strangers. Ye are fruits of one tree and the leaves of one branch. So the Baha'i Faith is all about unity. It's about bringing the whole world into the aspect of under God. And there is only one God that we believe in the Baha'i Faith. We believe that all religions are from God, from the same God, and that they simply, that God sends down his prophets or messengers when humanity needs to be reminded of the Word of God. And so each prophet or messenger comes with its own laws, social laws, and tenets for that particular time. And the Word of God is always the same. And in fact, if you look at the various books from the sacred scriptures of many of the different religions, they are almost identical. I know that's one of the things that as a Christian, I was looking at the Bible and saw what Jesus said, and I looked at the Baha'i Faith and went, oh, here it is again. It's like almost word for word. So obviously the Word of God is the Word of God, and that is one of the main principles of the Baha'i Faith. Another is that, as I mentioned, is that humanity is all one family, that we are all created from the same stock, and there is only one race, the human race. Also, equality of men and women. Baha'u'llah likens men and women to the two wings of a bird. So you cannot fly unless your wings are equal, and they both are being uplifted and they can soar. So it's about bringing women into the equality of men, and when that happens, that men truly can soar to their possibilities. It's also about the elimination of all prejudices, be it of race or creed or age or economic status, etc. It's about eliminating all prejudices. I mentioned already the independent investigation of truth, the harmony of science and religion, because both science and religion are from God. God created everything, so he created science as well. And if science facts don't line up with a religion, or religion doesn't line up with facts, then there's something missing, because they all should go together. We're all about world peace. The Baha'i Faith is about creating unity and oneness and bringing in this most great peace that Baha'u'llah talks about. Thank you. Also, that there are spiritual solutions to economic problems, and when we have economic problems, it's about getting to the spiritual foundation and seeing what is missing there. It's about moderation. It's about eliminating the extremes of wealth and poverty. It's not about everyone having the same amount of dollars. And it is about that everyone has what they need and they have enough. Also that everyone has a universal education. And in fact, everyone is to be educated, but if a choice has to be made between a male child and a girl child to be educated, you educate the girl child, because it is in the mother that the next generations will be upraised. So the mother is to be educated. And that there will be one auxiliary language. And I say auxiliary because everyone is to keep their own languages, but there will be one way that we can talk to each other around the planet. And to me, I was in Haifa, which is the seat of the Baha'i Faith is in Haifa, Israel. That's where our world center is, and the Universal House of Justice, which is the ruling body of the faith. And I met the Universal House of Justice members. There are 9 members who sit on this universal, how can I put it? Council. Yes, thank you. That's a good way to put it. And one of them, I said, you know, I think the auxiliary language that we are to develop here is the language of the heart. And in fact, I really think it's telepathy. But I said the language of the heart, and he goes, well, of course, yes, of course. And we need to speak to each other. So they're thinking of some physical language, and I'm thinking of a mental language. It's yet to be determined. There is a friend of mine who speaks angelic language. there is a language of the angels. And she was raised by angels, actually. And she's a human being, and she was raised by angels as well as her parents. And she speaks their language and can actually speak it to you. It's beautiful. It sounds sort of like a Native American language to me, or kind of Tibetan maybe too. And I'm thinking maybe we're all to learn that. Maybe that is the universal language. But whatever it is about being able to connect. And I know that language of the heart is certainly part of this. So there were two, just to give you a little bit more on the primer of the Baha'i Faith, there were twin manifestations. One was called the Bab, and that means the gate. He was born in 1819, and he died in 1850, was executed. He proclaimed his covenant in 1844, and so the Baha'i Faith is said to have started in 1844. He was a manifestation of God, and he also said, there will be someone greater than me coming. I am but the gateway, much like John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus Christ. And so the next manifestation was Baha'u'llah, which means the glory of God, the glory of the Father. And he was born in 1817 and died in 1892. He declared his covenant in 1863, so we celebrate in the Garden of Rizwan, when he declared his covenant, we celebrate that as well. Now today, what's very interesting, well, I'll get to that in a minute, both of them wrote thousands of texts, thousands of tablets. The Baha'i Faith was started in Persia, in ancient Iran, and so they were both exiled, and Baha'u'llah particularly was exiled for 40 years and in prison, and the Ottoman Empire threw him out, and he ended up in Akka, which is a prison in Israel, and that's why the shrine of the Bab's remains are in Haifa, Israel, and that's why we have our seat of government there, is because that's where Baha'u'llah passed away. And that's where the shrine, the remains of the Bab are also interred. They both wrote thousands of books. Many of the ones from the Bab were lost. I think they were burned, but don't quote me on that. So we have several of his texts left, and there were many thousands lost as well. Baha'u'llah has written many books, and I do have several here today, many of whom are very mystical. One is called the Kitabi Akdan. The Kitabi Akdan. It's the book of Certitude. And I don't know how many of you are metaphysical dabblers or students. And one of the things we're striving for is certitude, is to be certain, to be able to walk in certainty. And that's really what this whole book is about. So it's very beautiful that way. Another one of the books is where Baha'u'llah's son, Abdul-Baha, which means servant of God, was in Paris in the 1911, I think. He was doing a bunch of talks in Paris, and these are very mystical talks. I encourage you to read this book as well. And we'll go over a few of what he says in a moment. Another one is The Secret of Divine Civilization. The Baha'i Faith is all about creating a new world, bringing this, if you will, fifth dimensional reality, or heaven, into the third dimensional reality, or earth. So it's how to do that. And one of the books that covers that is The Secrets of Divine Civilization. There are others like The Gems of Divine Mysteries, also by Baha'u'llah. So there are many, many books to look at. And when I went to put this talk together, I pulled a few, and I encourage you to study for yourself, because there are many out there. So the Bab exhorted his followers to see with the eye of spirit, rather than through their fanciful imaginations. To be worthy of him whom God shall make manifest required entirely new standards of conduct, a nobility of character that human beings had therefore too not attained. Purge your hearts of worldly desires, the Bab urged his first group of disciples. Let the angelic virtues be your adorning. The time has come when naught but the purest motive, supported by deeds of stainless purity, can ascend to the throne of the Most High and be acceptable unto Him. So what that says to me is that we are to purify our hearts and we are to adorn ourselves with heavenly virtues. So keep those two things in mind. We're going to be working with that in a minute. Another one of the quotes talks about a true seeker, when he determineth to take a step in the search of the path leading to the knowledge of the Ancient of Days, he must be all else cleanse and purify his heart, which is the seat of the revelation of the inner mysteries of God, from the obscuring dust of all acquired knowledge and the illusions of the embodiment of satanic fantasy. He must purge his breast of every defilement and sanctify his soul from all that pertaineth to water and clay. So we're really to detach ourselves from this earth and to purify our hearts and to bring these heavenly virtues into our own being. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's the first hidden word of Baha'u'llah, and it goes, "O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this. Possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting." So we want to purify our heart, be kind, and be radiant. And this radiance is another part of the metaphysical training. When you bring in your light body and you work with bringing in your soul essence, it is about being radiant. So Baha'u'llah actually was talking about this, was to walk in your radiance, because each of us are unique and different, and we each have our own radiance that we're here to shine our light in the world. So this to me is a confirmation of that and is a very good prescription. He also talks about that those whose souls who are pure and unsullied upon the dissolution of their elemental frames hasten away to the world of God, and that world is within this world. So in truth, heaven is here, right now, right in our own bodies, and in fact it's in our hearts. There are many of the hidden words. These are the hidden words of Baha'u'llah. If I can remember this correctly, Fatima, who was Muhammad's daughter, was given these hidden words, and she said, someone help me out here who's a Baha'i. She said that the next person to reveal these would be a true manifestation of God, that they would come from God again. And they were lost with Fatima. I mean, she didn't write them down, or they weren't inscribed in the Quran. And so Baha'u'llah revealed the hidden words. And these are very short. They're very much like the one I just quoted you, O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this, possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. So they are potent, and they are very concise. And there are Arabic and Persian ones. There's 2 sets of them, up to about 80 on each of those. So there's lots. If you just spent your time reading the hidden words, there are very many mystical writings in this little book. It goes a long way. We'll look at a couple of them in a minute. Some of the other quotes talk about that where it is said that the blind receive sight, the significance is that he obtained true perception. Where it is said that a deaf man received hearing, the meaning is that he acquired spiritual and heavenly hearing. Abdu'l-Baha, who is the son of Baha'u'llah, wrote a book called Some Answered Questions, and I did not bring it with me, but it's about the size of the Kitab-i-Aqdan. And it was when many of the followers, when he went to Europe, he traveled throughout Europe and spoke to the followers and to interested people, and they had questions, and he answered them, and so it was written down and recorded. And he is considered a manifestation, or not a manifestation, but a true interpreter of the text of the Baha'i Faith. So we consider his words holy as well. And so he was saying that to obtain true sight, it's really about looking with your inner eye and your inner ear. And this is a prescription that we are to, that we will certainly be using this after we die. That these powers are with us, and they are like to be used in the spiritual world. And much like a baby in a womb has all your legs and arms that can walk and move and has a sense of seeing and hearing, but does not use that in the womb, that we don't necessarily use these psychic gifts in this world, but they are the reality and the essence of the world to come. Now, I want to personally say that many of the writings to me speak that as we're bringing heaven to earth now, this 2012 date that I brought you into awareness of, and the shift we were talking about, that we are opening up these channels, because as we bring heaven to earth, we are indeed transforming our physical bodies into ones of light bodies. We're bringing them into a sense of where these psychic gifts, if you will, or these other essences of knowing what the metaphysical means, is a way of walking in that world. And we're being called to walk in that world and in this world at the same time. And that is bringing heaven to this earthly plane. Another hidden word talks about it's this, and it says, O Son of Spirit, I created thee rich. Why dost thou bring thyself down to poverty? Noble I made thee. Where dost thou abase thyself? Out of the essence of knowledge I gave thee being. Why seekest thou enlightenment from anyone beside me? Out of the clay of love I molded thee. How dost thou busy thyself with another? Turn thy sight unto thyself, that thou mayest find me standing within thee, mighty, powerful, and self-subsisting. So God is already within us, and in that sacred heart, that high heart, or sort of 4.5 chakra, or the new 5th chakra, it sits here in your thymus gland. That's where your sacred heart is, and that's where God resides. Another quote I really love from Abdu'l-Baha is, O God, refresh and gladden my spirit, purify my heart, illumine my powers. I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Thou art my guide and my refuge. I will no longer be sorrowful and grieved. I will be a happy and joyful being. O God, I will no longer be full of anxiety, nor will I let trouble harass me. I will not dwell on the unpleasant things in life. O God, thou art more friend to me than I am to myself. I dedicate myself to thee, O Lord. Now, something at the beginning of that, refresh and gladden my spirit. What do you do with your computer when you want to go to another page on the internet? You refresh it. So to me, what that says is refresh, boom, new time, new start over, new page, present moment. I can just, boom, refresh myself and gladden my spirit. We're here to be glad. We're here to be upbeat. We're here to illumine our powers. We're here to understand our innermost meanings and not to be full of anxiety. We're to be happy and joyful. And this is about being these living words, these virtuous words that we talked about a little bit earlier, about being the essence of really happiness and joy, and talking about how to live, how to walk in this world in these new virtues, if you will, of God. So I want to play with that for a minute. I want you all to think of some words that you want to bring into your own life that are sort of your noble essence. This other hidden word talks about this. O Son of Spirit, noble I have created thee, yet thou hast abased thyself. Rise then unto that for which thou wast created. So what do you want to rise to? There's a wonderful, if you're taking any notes, the Virtues Project is a great Baha'i-inspired company. It just basically lays out all these virtues of God that we indeed are, like gentleness and assertiveness and kindness and friendliness and tolerance and honesty and cleanliness and all of those wonderful attributes that we can obtain. So if you go to virtuesproject.com, you can find out about the cards, the deck of cards they have, and a family guide and a teacher's guide, because it's about walking and knowing how to act, think, and speak in virtuous ways. So I want you to kind of pick 5 virtues that you want to create for yourself. And we're going to be walking in these living words. If you choose to write them down, great. If not, just put them in your head and close your eyes for a minute once you've done that. Well, sort of forget writing them down. Just think about them. So 5 words that truly describe who you are, kind of the essence of your being. You're unique, I want to point out, unique being. Write them on top of your head, like wearing hats. Or you can stack 5 hats on top of your head, 1 hat with each word. And notice the vibrations of each of these words. Notice the color of each of these words. Notice the texture, the movement, the sound. Say hello to each of these words. Own them. Let them come down into your aura and into your body, into every cell. Get full of them. Let them roll around all over you. Be these words. You are the living essence of the divine virtues of the Creator. And if you wanted to introduce yourself to the Creator today, you could say, I am, and name off these words. See your octahedron around you, those 6 roses, front, back, left, right, above, and below. As I read a prayer from the Bab, immeasurably exalted art thou, O Lord. Protect us from what lieth in front of us and behind us, above our heads, on our right, on our left, below our feet, and every other side to which we are exposed. Verily, thy protection over all things is unfailing. You can open your eyes. So one of our jobs is to walk in these living words, to be these living words, to become the new words of the new earth, of the new heaven on earth. And if we were all to do that, we would create heaven on earth. That is one of the main prescriptions, if you will, of the Baha'i Faith, is to own our divine essence, to choose who you are, to be able to walk in that octahedron, in that bubble that I just read you, that prayer from the Bab, no matter what tragedy is on the outside, but to stay centered and detached from all of the rest of the world as you walk in your own space and your own divinity and your own upliftment and your own essence. And by staying centered in yourself, you then give other people permission to be who they are and to be centered in their essence. And the world becomes heaven on earth. So I'm going to stop there, actually. There's a lot more to go into, but I'm going to open it up for questions. So thank you all for your patience, and I'll answer questions. Thanks.
Okay, so it seems like a wonderful belief system. It's brand new to me, and I've never heard of it. So for the millions like me, and you're not into this belief system yet, then how in the world can we just immediately accept what's going out in the ocean with the myriad of problems that are going on today? Does the Baha'i Faith just teach us how to stay with us and know our limits?
What do you mean,
World problems?
So you're talking about all the world problems going on today in the world, and how do we say it again? How do we?
Okay. Can I?
I understand if it's new.
As individuals, can we do anything about it other than, again, just try to have our own selves around?
Good question. Okay. So you're asking that, can we do anything about all the world's problems other than just staying in our own space and being in our own sacred being? Yes, of course. Yes, thank you. That's a great question. The Baha'i Faith is all about service, and it's all about helping each other and creating new institutions. A lot of the Baha'is work with the United Nations, for example, and a lot of global organizations. And in your own community, just being able to help uplift children, make them feel better about themselves, work with junior youth to do all kinds of sustainable development projects and social economic development projects. So yes, it's about action and service and getting out there and every day working with refugees, teaching English to people who've just come here to this country. And actually, Baha'u'llah said that work is worship. So your own individual work, in doing your own individual work, going to work every day, doing whatever you are doing, you are worshiping God through that. So absolutely, it's about action. And it's also about, I brought it because we're talking about metaphysics here, and to me, the reason I said about standing in your own essence and being protected and being in one's own serenity and peace inside is the way, it's like the song, peace begins, let peace begin with me. So that's really what I'm referring to in creating peace around the world. Great question, thank you.
Why do you call the leaders of this the Bab? Is that what you're saying?
The Bab was the first. There's twin
What does that mean,
manifestations.
Bab?
The Bab, B-A-B, it means the gate, a gate or doorway. Yeah, because he said that he was the gateway to the next manifestation that would be even greater and bring this revelation of this new heaven on earth. And he was but the door, but the gateway, much like John the Baptist was for Jesus Christ. Does that answer your question? Okay, good. Yeah. Yes.
Gail, can you speak to some interfaith initiatives that the Baha'i community is engaged in?
There are lots of interfaith initiatives. The website is down at the moment, and it will be back up very soon, like in the next couple of days. But if you go to atlantabaha'i.org, you can find out what's happening in Atlanta locally among all the different Baha'i centers and individual initiatives, and also with interfaith activities. The Baha'is are a member of the Faith Alliance of Metro Atlanta, for example. We do unity gatherings. We're all about unity, and it really doesn't matter what faith you are. Everyone is welcome because it's all about one God, and it's all about the same Word of God. So any Baha'i gathering is open to everyone, and so please come and know that we have firesides. The Baha'i calendar is made up of 19 months of 19 days. 19 is a holy number, as well as 9 and 5. I was going to go over those numbers a little bit in the numerology, but that's for another talk. So you have lots of opportunities from the feasts to the holy days, and today is a holy day, by the way. That's what I wanted to mention. Today is the declaration of the Bab, the first manifestation. Today is the day that he declared his covenant in 1844. So it is a very, very holy day for the Baha'i Faith. Yeah.
Jim,
Uh-huh.
a question?
Yes.
You spoke about the six-sided octagon,
Octahedron.
the octahedron, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you mentioned the 6 roses.
Mm-hmm.
Is this identical, say, to our ideal of what we want to see in the world? Or is it something that you say exists in the world already?
Is the octahedron and the roses something that is a ideal we want to see, or is it something that
we're trying
exists?
to achieve?
No, it's something we actually have already. We've already achieved it. This is, I'm just, when we talk about auras, you know, if you hold your hand out in front of you and put your palm facing you, that's about the normal length of one's aura, all the way around. So it's about 18 inches, something like that, all the way around our body, above us and below our feet. And the Bab talks about in this prayer, it's a longer prayer, and actually I didn't show you, but and you probably can't even see. He wrote it in the form of a star, a 5-pointed star, because the 5-pointed star is the human being, you know, Da Vinci with his man outstretched. And that's why the Bab has the number 5, is his number. And so actually the human being is the symbol of 5, and we have, you know, above, below, right, left, front, behind, we have this octahedron is our actual energetic template that is around our body as we sit. It is our earthly template. It's what the aura looks like as you sit here. Now, we don't pay attention to it that way normally, and you can set up these roses as kind of pinpoints and see it. Does that answer your question then? Okay. Now, to get a little more metaphysical, we're moving into, from the octahedron as a third-dimensional reality to the star tetrahedron. The Merkaba is a fourth-dimensional reality. The cube brings you into the fifth-dimensional reality. These platonic solids, the sacred geometry, are very important when you get into the metaphysical teachings and of how you sit in your light body and have your essence around you. Yeah. Any other questions?
Going back to the last conversation, when we chose the color of the roses that were surrounding us, do they have any significant meaning?
Do the colors of the roses around you have any meaning? Only to you, because you chose them. And we, of course, change our aura colors all the time. And yes, they do have significance. So if I'm looking at somebody's energy field with color, I will interpret what that color means and for me and what I'm seeing, and it also may have very different meanings to you. So this is your personal rose. You can make it red, you can make it blue, you can make it striped purple, polka dot, you know, it can be whatever. And have fun with it. This is all, you know, like being a child again, because children are so connected. Yeah. Yes?
Does the actual rose have significance?
Does the actual rose have significance? Yes, actually, it does. The rose is a very sacred flower, and it exists in all sacred texts. Rose oil vibrates at a very high vibration, around 320 megahertz, and the human body vibrates around 64 megahertz. So a high vibration can dispel any lower negative vibrations, just like the opera singer's high note can break the glass when they hit it right. So the rose is as a sacred symbol, has a lot of meaning, yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you have a weekly service of some kind or gatherings?
Yes.
And what occurs during
Okay.
those things?
Do we have a weekly service or gatherings of some kind, and what occurs? Yes. There are several centers in Atlanta that are called Baha'i centers. They're not churches, but they are meeting places. They usually have devotionals every Sunday, or at least 3 of them I know do. The Baha'i Center for Learning here in Marietta has one. There's a Atlanta Baha'i Center down on Edgewood near the Martin Luther King Center has one. the Unity Center, which is out in Wesley Chapel at 285 and just north of I-20, also has a devotional service on Sundays. And then, of course, because there are no clergy in the Baha'i Faith, people had devotions at their own homes or their place of work or whatever. What happens is whatever wants to happen. In other words, whoever is hosting a devotional service, and particularly at these centers, it's more structured usually. There may be a choir, there may be a speaker for 15 to 20 minutes. There may be different poems and prayers read and different teachings or discussions made. There could be art, there could be drama. It's music. It's really up to whoever's the host and whatever they want to bring to the devotional gathering to put together. Now, one thing, actually you brought something very good up. In the Baha'i Faith, there are something called Ruhi books. And these are study guides. This is book 1, and there are 8 of them currently. They're written by our teaching committee, which is, again, in Haifa, Israel. These are all about, the first one is about, it's called Reflections on the Life of the Spirit. So it's about who are we as a spirit, and who are we, what are we to walk as a spirit in this world, and what is life after death? So these are what the Baha'i writings say about these subjects. And what people get together is they get together and form a study circle. And you don't have to be a Baha'i. In fact, you're encouraged to bring your friends who aren't, who are just seeking the faith, who are just wanting to learn more about it. And so, and by the way, let me just back up and say, the only qualification to, quote, be a Baha'i is that you believe that Baha'u'llah is the manifestation of God for this age. That's it. I'm still Christian, for example. My husband's still Jewish, but I'm Baha'i as well. So let me finish what she said, because this book is about this. Every book has a service project in it as well. This one is about how to start a devotional gathering. So it's about who are we as a spirit, and then what is it like if we want to just worship with our friends, if we want to have and put on a devotional gathering, a service. And so this has some of the opportunities to do that. Yeah.
Do you believe there are other manifestations, and how do you absorb their wisdom teachings into your thoughts?
Baha'u'llah is the main manifestation for this age. Now, I personally, as I study the spiritual writings and other teachings and metaphysics, I certainly believe in the Ascended Masters. In fact, I've got the wonderful The Masters in Their Path book here that we have, that's taught here at the Theosophical Society, and all of the manifestations of God are under God. So I said for this age. Now there are many other holy people and religious leaders existing here on earth that are here to bring about the same thing. I'm constantly amazed. We had something called the Gathering of One 2 years ago. I don't know if any of you participated in that. It was put on to bring about union of humanity and bring the light to the earth. And I've actually got the little video here we could play if we could see it. And maybe afterwards if we turn out the lights. But certainly all of these teachers are here. There are many, many sacred teachers on the earth right now. And Baha'u'llah is the supreme manifestation for this particular time. His writings are steeped in, as I said, not only metaphysical teachings, but prescriptions of how to bring heaven to earth. There's one called The World Order of Baha'u'llah, the Secret of Divine Civilization. We are to really become the fifth dimensional heaven on earth world today. And all of the reason, what happened in 1844, when the light of this revelation started to permeate the world, it permeated all of the world. So all of the teachings coming since then are from this light. They were shown with this light. And so it has uplifted, if you will, all of humanity. So you have this, how can I put it, this 100th monkey syndrome, where you have everyone kind of teaching the same thing because it's all the same word. If you don't know the 100th monkey, what it is is some scientists were studying these animals on an island, and they were washing their potatoes, and suddenly, when enough of them started to wash their potatoes, other monkeys on other islands started to wash their potatoes too, and they had no visual, auditory, or knowledge of the ones who started it first. It's an energetic connection. It's when enough of people or whatever start, and something, when an energy gets permeated, then it spreads out and everyone else picks it up too. So I think we need to wrap up. And thank you so much. I'm going to end it there. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.